he essentially was quite lucky in the French league, and all the data suggested that he shouldn't have scored anywhere near as many goals as he did. And when the data is that kind of heavily in that way, it's going to level out at some point. He's not going to carry on that forever. And then he showed it at the Arsenal stats as well, and said, listen, he actually only should have got 2 goals instead of 10. And then Arsene Wenger looked at the data, and he said, so what's happening now is that Marouane Chamakh isn't scoring because he's out of form. Marouane Chamakh's not scoring because he shouldn't score, because he's not a very good footballer. And he shouldn't have scored as many in that season for Bordeaux, and he shouldn't have scored as many at the start for Arsenal. But eventually, if you looked at this data, you would have known throughout that whole time that this will not last. Marouane Chamakh will start scoring very, very few goals for your football club. So what Arsene Wenger did was that Arsene Wenger bought the data. Arsene Wenger made Arsenal buy the data company that the data scientists had come from, and Arsenal Football Club swallowed that data. And Arsene Wenger said that he would never have signed Chamakh if he saw that data about his Bordeaux overperformance before he signed him at Arsenal. So they became a part of Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, we've based our recruitment on that since as well, which has had its good and its negatives. But yeah, I can attest to the fact that he wasn't a very good footballer.
Yeah.
But what's your opinion of the expected goal average?
I always think that XG, I use it as a way of finding out how many good chances are you creating, right? I think you can use it as a way of, are we making enough chances for our strikers to put away? If you look at Arsenal this year, our XG is awful, not only because Aubameyang's out of form, but our midfielders aren't creating chances for him to even score. So I think it can point to a lack of creativity in the rest of your team as well, because you're not creating those goal-scoring opportunities that they are then expected to score, right? So that's how I kind of interpret it usually. Again, I'm not really an expert, but that's how I interpret it usually, is are we making the chances for our strikers to put it away?
There's also a way of using that to kind of almost forecast the future of your team. So Newcastle had it. I can't remember what season it was where they finished top half. I think they pushed for Europe.
Oh, it was under Pardew.
Under Pardew, yeah. But they were freakishly overperforming their XG and their expected goals against as well. It was a freakish season. Now they didn't have they thought that they were very good, and what the XG told them was actually, without a lot of luck, they would have probably finished 17th. And what Newcastle didn't do, they didn't recruit majorly in the summer because they'd done so well. And then the next season they plummeted right down the league, and they got almost nailed on their XG that season. But so I do think XG can be useful in terms of planning for the future a little bit.
Yeah, predict, like seeing what's coming. Yeah. And not only because Pardew only ever does well for 6 months, but yeah. Good. Okay, so quickly, before we wrap this up, I think we've both had a bit of time to play around with FM21. I am really impressed with it. I think it's the cleanest, and it's kind of the biggest jump we've seen in improvements. I think. What has stood out to you since you started playing in this new version?
I mean, I've been waiting to tell the followers this on the account, but I genuinely think that this year between 20 and 21 is the best single kind of difference between two games that I think I've seen, maybe apart from when they brought the 2D match engine in 2003. The changes this year are amazing. What I didn't like about FM in the past is that every year they tried to bring in like headline new features, and this year what they've done is just gone a little bit kind of more specific and gone, right, there's a lot of little things that we can change about this game to make it a lot more effective. Probably the main one that I'm enjoying the most is the match engine. The match engine is
insane, the difference, right?
Yeah, it's honestly listen, it's not perfect, but sometimes it's like watching a football match, and especially from a tactical perspective, the way that you can implement tactical changes and see it more than you've ever been able to, which is just amazing.
This is it. In the past, I feel like when I've told like my wing backs to stop shooting, when you watch the game, they still continue to do the same thing, continue to do the same thing.
They'll have 7 shots off target.
Yeah. But now, when I've kind of told my wing backs to kind of hold back or not, you can literally see it on the pitch making the difference. I feel like the match engine is it's amazing to watch it now. I think a few people have said it, like you said, it's almost like watching football now.
Yeah. It's amazing. There's loads of little things as well that they deserve a lot of credit for. I mean, in terms of player recruitment as well, they brought in like kind of recruitment meetings with your scouts, which I just think is brilliant, the way they've done that. I'm really enjoying that feature. The XG as well. XG is such an interesting part of it. You can even scout players on XG, and
nice.
If you're obsessed with Moneyball, you can look for players who should have achieved this and should have achieved that. That's great as well. But I just think generally the whole game, in pretty much every area, have just done little improvements here and there, especially during a hard time as well. It must have been hard to design a game when, the whole world's essentially in lockdown for the majority of it. I know that the Chiefs at Sports Interactive were very stressed about that, and they may have had to delay it and stuff like that, but they were still keen to bring it out because we're all sat at home. We can't really do much. So they really wanted to push it through. And the beta version that's out now, there are bugs in it. But
yeah, of course. Like, for example, my manager, for some reason, he wouldn't let me change his skin tone. So I'm now a black guy with ginger hair. And it looks quite funny, but he just wouldn't let me change the skin tone. So there's still a few things to iron out there, but I've been so impressed with it. And so who have you taken over as in your first save?
Because I've been so kind of busy running the Instagram account, I genuinely didn't spend any time thinking, who am I going to manage this year?
Okay.
I didn't want to manage Van Leerse in Denmark again because I felt like my time there had come to an end. I'd achieved greatness there. And listen, there are still people who mess me every day going, you can't be anyone else but Van Leerse. That's all we follow. But I thought I'm going to go back to England, and I managed Southport.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I don't know why I managed Southport. I didn't think about who was managed until the game was downloading, and then I looked, and they were projected to finish bottom, and I was like, you know what, I'll go Southport. So we're doing well. We're top of the league in February. We're top of the league in February. We've only lost one game all season, but we've drawn a lot of games, so I think we're only 4 points clear at the top. But
you're still there. You're still leading the way.
We're leading the way, but this year throws a lot more kind of problems. I don't have much squad depth, and I think one thing that's important to mention is that they didn't want to bring COVID-19 into the game because they made a very good point that people play this game to kind of escape reality and immerse themselves into the game because, listen, the world's a pretty grim place at the minute. And listen, I can speak from, my perspective that I play this game a lot, and I really immerse myself in this game, and then probably, problems outside of the game don't really appear. They don't really have the prevalence that they do. So they didn't want to kind of bring COVID-19 as an illness or anything like that because they didn't want that reminder of it, it coming in front of your face. My player's out with COVID. They wanted to.
It seems a bit cruel to just fictionally give someone COVID. It seems a bit crass. I don't know.
But they also pride themselves on pure realism and making the game as close to real life as possible. So what they've done is they've put in the financial implications of COVID. So. You've probably seen yourself, if you play the game, no one's got any money.
Yeah, it's a lot of loans and a lot of I promise I'll pay you a year.
So what you have is kind of like the club has a finance for this year because of COVID, and then next year you probably got more money. But I think pretty much 90% of the teams have no money to spend.
This is it. I've started my save with Steaua Bucharest. I decided I'm going to take them back to European glory. My aim is to win the Champions League with them. I was inspired by, I don't know if you follow him on YouTube, Zealand, the guy he's like a kind of FM blogger. And he did it with Barte Borisov. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and do it with Steaua Bucharest. And I had a transfer budget of like 100,000, and I'm already scraping the barrel. My wage budget is in the red, and it's kind of looking a bit dangerous. Yeah, there's not much money going around. Yeah. Good. Well, I really enjoyed this. I think that was great.
I really enjoyed it too, and the Cheerios story at the beginning was great, but then the Denmark story, Ben, that one is crazy. Like, for someone who doesn't know about the Football Manager universe, that tends to think that it's a very geeky thing, to see how the Football Manager universe actually meets the real world. It's actually a beautiful story. So thanks for sharing that, Liam.
You're welcome. Thanks very much for having me.
Or should I
Good.
say
So, next coming up is going to be the answers to the quiz. And I think this time it's my turn answering. So,
yeah.
See you on the other side, listeners. Again, thank you, Liam. Thank you for coming on. It's been great.
Liam, just remind us your Instagram page.
At Footy Manager Memes.
All right. Easy and straightforward, not like our handle. Thank you very much for being here. So, Rory, ever since we recorded our weekly topic with Liam, have you been invited by any Danish clubs?
No, but I am currently looking at flights for Steaua Bucharest, as I've just won them the treble. So they're rightly building me a statue as we speak, I believe. So updates incoming, listeners.
We're so excited.
No, that story from Liam was crazy, right? That's why I love Football Manager. The community is ridiculous. There's a lot of messages online, people kind of helping each other, showing off a little bit. But it's so easy to get that marketable thing, and Liam is obviously very good at the game, so fair play to him. Yeah, I really enjoyed that chat. I thought it was fascinating. I really did.
Have you had some time to think about the time lineup?
I have. I think I'm feeling low key confident.
All right. So
yeah,
let's see.
So I'm not going to try and call the years because I'm pretty terrible with years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say first is Juventus winning the first Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
Second is Milan getting relegated. Third, I'm still deciding in my head. Third, I'm going to say is Lukaku born. Fourth, I'm going to say Ronaldo signing for Barcelona. And then fifth, I'm going to say Totti scoring his first professional goal.
All right, so the listeners might want to pause if you're still thinking about it, because Rory's crossing his fingers, because I'm about to give away the correct answer. Unfortunately, Rory, this game is very tough and you mixed up a few events. So let's start actually from the most recent. The most recent event in 1996 is Ronaldo Nazario de Lima signing for Barcelona. That was 1996, signing from PSV. Rory's like those students that you give them the answers, they don't even listen to you anymore correcting them. They just care about getting a good score. So, Rory, please listen to me.
Yes,
the youngest event in 1996 is Ronaldo signing for Barcelona. 1994, Francesco Totti scores his first professional goal for Roma. That's 1994, preceded by Romelu Lukaku being born on the 13th of May, 1993. So those are the most recent events. As for the last two,
don't tell me I didn't get any.
So Juventus won their first Champions League in 1985, and AC Milan got relegated for the first time in their history in 1980.
No, wait. Oh, no.
No, why were you celebrating? You got it all wrong, Rory.
Every single one.
But this is why it's called the timeline up, because now you have a chance to tell me a few of the players that were playing either for Juventus or for Liverpool when Juventus won their first Champions League. Come on, Rory, don't do that.
Okay, the Liverpool team, I think we can go.
So, do you want to focus on Juventus or on Liverpool? We can go for
the Liverpool team. I'm going to go for Liverpool. I'm going to know more of the Liverpool players, I think.
Okay, so 1 second. Let me open up the lineups for the very controversial Champions League final.
Yeah, we do have to put in brackets. This was the Heysel disaster, and not a highlight in football history. But looking at Platini's reaction, you wouldn't have known it. But anyway.
All right, so you're going to focus on Liverpool when they played Juventus in the Champions League final of the 29th of May, 1985. So you got 0 points for the timeline. Let's see how many points you get for the lineup.
Good. Okay, so in goal is Ray Clements.
Nope.
No?
No. Bruce Grobbelaar from Zimbabwe.
My cousin, who's a Liverpool fan, is going to be screaming the lineup at me through his phone. So I'm going to say, I really thought Ray Clements was that one. Never mind. Alan Hansen in defence.
Yes, you got 1 point.
Mark Lawrenson.
You've got 2 points.
Kenny Dalglish.